right, we record.
Your caller made the beat, boy.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of She Good Peoples. My name is Kelsey Coop Charles, and with me I have Antonio Long. As usual, Long, how's everything going for you today?
Everything lovely, dog. Everything lovely. Been a good week. Looking forward to the show tonight. Talking about something that's near and dear to our hearts, and it's gonna be a good one.
Well, most definitely. So to kick this thing off, man, we'll let you do what you do. We have sponsors tonight.
Yeah, we got a few. We got one reoccurring, and we got one new one. For those of you that will be in the Charlotte area, Charlotte Rock Hill area on September the 4th, there's the Rock Hill Comic-Con presented by my good friend Mr. David Henson. Got some feedback from the Charlotte Comic-Con. They had a really good time up there last week. Really good turnout. He appreciated everything that we did, while we were leading up to it, and I'm do the same thing for the Rock Hill Comic-Con. It's going to be at the Hilton Garden Inn in Rock Hill, South Carolina. That's right there off of exit 79 on I-77. It's right there behind the movie theater and the Chili's, but you can see it from the road. It's the Hilton Garden Inn. Again, it's from 10 o'clock in the morning to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Also, we're going to continue to do this until the day arrives. But the Pig on the Ridge Barbecue Festival is returning, still on course for right now, November 5th and 6th in the big city of Ridgeway, South Carolina. We will be doing a live broadcast from the night's activities during the Pig on the Ridge, and we're looking forward to that as well. And also, another return sponsor, my little niece, Ayana. Cerise Customs. Right now, she is business is booming for my little niece. I told her, let me hold some. It was going so good. Because it's been everybody been locked down, and she's doing what people like. She can make you customize things, cups, shirts, hats, whatever you may want. All you gotta do is look her up. She has her own Facebook page for Cerise Customs. You can get with her through Facebook, and you can also get with her through Instagram as well. She did I can't show you right now, but she did a cover for an ottoman that I have here in the man cave, put a 1961 Steeler symbol on it, and I love it. And she's working on some additional stuff for me to continue to put on that cover. I appreciate what she's doing. She's doing such a wonderful job. And also, just for one other thing, she just recently got her permit, and she's driving everywhere right now. So if anybody that knows me, that's my little baby. That's my baby niece. But she ain't no baby no more because she's 15 now.
They grow up fast, I'll tell you.
Yeah, they growing fast, Bo. And before we get started and getting into this next one, this past week was 1 year. I want to make this dedication, as always, to my brother, my homie, Mr. Kelly Craig, who passed away 1 year ago last week. Missed that brother, because that was a good brother. He was very influential in everything that I've ever done in my life. Kelsey, you got a chance to meet him at the wedding. Just a big man with a big heart. Shout out to his wife and daughter. I know it's been a difficult year, but I know, we all hope and pray that you all continue to prosper and go forward. It ain't easy. Never thought I'd be lost in this time in our lives, because we were going to grow old and talk trash together as we always have done. But just to say that rest easy, brother. We'll see each other one day again. But in all things that I do, and from now on, it's a total dedication to him, because he was a true friend. And anybody that knows me, my circle is small, and when that piece of the circle fell out, there is no replacing that circle.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah. All right. So this week we gonna do something that's near and dear to both me and Kelsey's heart. You know, during the weekend I do a battle per se for R&B groups and singers and everything. And this week we're going to discuss some 90s R&B groups. We're going to do the males this week on this show. And then next week when we do the second show, we'll do the females. So Kelsey, you want to kick it off?
Ooh, yeah. So let's get this thing started off. The first group we're going to talk about, I wouldn't say controversy, but they came in with a style all their own. You know, these four brothers could sing out of Monroe, North Carolina. When they came in, I guess, with a bad boy image, but I mean, you come in with bad boy image, sing love songs. So, I mean, it was something fresh. It was something new. High-tech boots, black leather. I mean, none other than Joe. You know, I mean, KC, JoJo, Dalvin, and Devontae. I mean, just trendsetters during the time, man. They had something that everybody wanted to hear. I'll put it that way. A nice, refreshing sound, something new.
Most definitely. Jodeci came in. The first time we heard Jodeci was with Father MC. They sung back up on Treat Them Like They Want to Be Treated. Mm-hmm. And you know, you kind of forgot about Father MC when it came out. You're like, who is these four fellas back here harmonizing? And it was sounding so good. And then when they debut album came out, you know, Forever My Lady is always going to be. Now, to me, I'll just say Forever My Lady is not one of my favorite songs. Okay, I'll say that. Out of all the Jodeci songs, that is not one. But that was what put them on the map. KC, JoJo doing majority of the leading on those songs. Phenomenal brothers. Can sing anything. Love the fact they brought that down home church feel to every song that they sung.
Oh, yeah. KC has the old soul, man. I tell you. And I mean, it's not a knock on them when you say come and talk to me. Forever My Lady is not one of your favorites, because they had such a huge catalog of hits. I mean, thinking about Come and Talk to Me, Fiendin'.
Oh man. Freaking You.
So they at the hard part of the hotel. I mean, that whole album. I mean,
from start to finish on that one, that is a killer from start to finish. Yeah. Cannot take nothing from them. In all actuality and seriousness, the show, the after party at the hotel, is one of my favorites. Even the second album was just outstanding. The first 7 songs is nothing but love songs. And you know, you can't even get that on anybody right now. And all of them were hard. I think the hardest video they ever had was Cry For You, and they out in the middle of the desert in leather. And singing, you know, hard. And you know, these brothers always brought it. You know, and then even to see them you know, on Martin, you know, interacting with Martin and keeping it together. You know, you got to give them credit for keeping it together, because that was one of the dumbest episodes of all time.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
And singing, you know, the singer Stevie Wonder song and sound, if not as good as Stevie, but better than Stevie.
Yeah, they covered that song lately. I mean, well, KC has an old soul anyway. I mean, even when he did his solo, If You Think You're Lonely Now.
Oh yeah, that Bobby Womack all day, you know, I mean, that Bobby Womack.
That's a beautiful song, man. He just has that voice, man. You know, he has that unique voice. It's kind of like him, Teddy Pendergrass. I mean, you kind of hear a little bit of Teddy in KC, a little bit more raspy, but I mean, the brother can sing. The brother can sing.
Yeah, and then they were a complete group because they could play instruments as well. And then you had a super producer at the time. Devontae doesn't get the credit that he deserves because of the fact it's Devontae. He always was the kind of out there one of the group, but Devontae was really a genius when it came to producing, and he produced a lot of their songs, and he did some early stuff for Missy Elliott.
Well, they were in his camp. I mean, they came under him. Timberland, Stevie J, Missy, you know, all of them, they came under his camp. I mean, you know, so that speaks volumes, man.
Yeah, you know, even to this day right now, I mean, people my age, They still love Dalvin and Devontae, like, you know, they love Prince. You know, all you got to do is put on a Jodeci song on with anybody around our age, they're gonna lose their mind.
Yeah. And when the beat drop, you know it's gonna be a Jodeci, you know it's a Jodeci song as soon as the beat drops.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
They have a distinct sound. Yeah.
And it's always gonna be, you know, you got to give them credit. You know, they put Uptown Music Group, you know, on the map along with Mary J. Blige and Heavy D. Without them, Uptown wouldn't have been where they were, because they were the driving force behind Uptown in the beginning, with Mary J. Blige. You know, so one of the things you can always say about Jodeci, and there's always this, we have this, and I got this upcoming on my Facebook page. I'm putting Jodeci against our second group, that is straight out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Again, started the 90s off. The 90s to me is one of the best eras of music, whether it be hip hop or whether it be R&B. But these four gentlemen started out in Philadelphia, founded by Michael Bivins. And I'm gonna have them in my upcoming episode against each other, because this is always the argument that we have: who was better, Jodeci or Boyz II Men?
Well, I'm a little partial to Boyz II Men, because Boyz II Men roots are in complete harmony. I mean, Jodeci can harmonize, but Boyz II Men took it to another level. There's only one group out there that can actually harmonize better than Boyz II Men. They modeled themselves after, and that was the great Take Six. You know, Brian McKnight had a brother in Take Six. I mean, they were just, I mean, their voices were so in tune that it sounded like it was more than six members of that group. I mean, it sounded like instruments, all that stuff. I mean, they could do it. They really mastered the vocals. And Boyz II Men, they modeled their sound. I won't say well, model is kind of a strong word, but they're reminding me of Take Six. I mean, they could sing. They had four lead singers in that group. Yes.
Even Mike.
And the harmony. I mean, Motown Philly came out. You know, you got this nice up-tempo beat and everything, and all of a sudden, okay, you hear some harmonizing. Like, wow, what is this? This is something fresh, or something new. I mean, and then they followed it up with the album 2, which it would have more success than Cooley High, Motown Philly. And then they followed that one up. I mean, with their first
four albums
you couldn't miss. They didn't miss at all.
Couldn't miss. And to be honest, the first album, their side, and I'm gonna say this like this here because I grew up during the era of cassettes. They side B was all love songs. You know what I'm saying? And those were some of the best love songs. You got Ooh Ah, Please Don't Go Away From Me. You know, those boys showed their range and depth of singing on those songs. And Wanye is one of the, I would love just to have Wanye go head up against KC just to see who. Yeah, boy. Yeah. I know you say it.
Wanye and Lil G. You got
well, I'm gonna get the Lil G. I'm gonna get the Lil G. Don't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Lil G is also special. You know what I'm saying? But I would love to see Wanye and KC go head up just to see, you know, because these brothers have demonstrated over the course of their careers. I mean, just phenomenal singers. When everything that they've ever sung has been great. I think a little while ago, I sent you a cover of them singing Just My Imagination.
Yes.
And ain't too many times you gonna say in your life somebody sound better than the Temptations. But
that's not happening. That's definitely not happening.
But they sung that song almost equal to the Temptations.
I mean, they were true to their craft.
Huh?
They were true to their craft. I mean, they studied vocals. I mean, they mastered their voices. They knew their range. They knew what they could do. I mean, they stayed in that pocket. But I mean, they were phenomenal, man. I mean, that's lack of a better term. I mean, they really took music to a different level.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if I'm traveling a long ways, I still play 2 and play it from start to finish because it gives you a wide range. And that's the thing that made them so good. They could do a mid tempo, they could do an up tempo, they could do a ballad, they could do a slow jam. You know, basically they took Yesterday and made it theirs, even though I know it's a Beatles tune, but they made it theirs. And then same thing with It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday. That singing that is not an easy song. And they harmonized it and brought it in so well. And then even if you go back to when they made the Jacksons miniseries and they was on the corner, they were singing In the Still of the Night. I mean, those boys could sing whatever song you put in front of them, and they was gonna make it theirs, and they was gonna make it a hit. It didn't matter. Juan, Sean, Nate, and Mike. Unfortunately, Mike had scoliosis, and that kind of took him away from the group and whatever. But even now, with just the three of them, they still have that sound. They still have that drive. They got probably one of the greatest Christmas songs of all time with Mr. Brian McKnight. So it's hard not to give them their props. You know what I mean? End of the Road. I think Rihanna just broke it a couple of years ago, but it was the longest #1 of all time. End of the Road. Probably, and we're gonna get into this on another show, probably was the #1 song on probably one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time, because that soundtrack was loaded with talent, loaded with people that made hit after hit after hit. So for them to come out of that song was written by Babyface and produced by Babyface, and you can tell again, they just took it and made it their own.
And I want to say, excuse me, the first time they recorded that, I remember hearing a tidbit from them. The first time they recorded was actually the first time they actually heard the song. They actually heard the song live. I think they've had other people sing it to them or whatever, but when they went to the studio the first time and were introduced to that song, I mean, that's the first time they actually recorded, and that's what they got. That's what they came out with. So I mean, that's just phenomenal talent, the Boys and Men. I mean, even it comes down to, nobody's gonna beat the real original "Can You Stand the Rain," right? About
no. Rap, you never gonna beat them. You never gonna beat
that acapella version the Boys and Men did. It was close. It
was close, but I'm partial. I'm partial to them boys from Boston, because I love them boys, man. And,
but they just did that to pay homage to Mike Bivins, who gave them the way. Paid the way for him. What better way to contribute?
If you can stand up and say "Can You Stand the Rain," which is one of New Edition's
greatest song of all time.
One of New Edition's great songs. I ain't gonna say it's the greatest, because the greatest is Mr. Telephone Man, and you know that, because if Bobby is there, you got to have Mr. Telephone Man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You cannot, you can't sing Mr. Telephone Man if Bobby ain't there. I'm sorry, Johnny, I love you. But
is this the end? Come on now, that's a good one too. Now,
is this the end? That's Ralph all day long. That's Ralph all day long. But Mr. Telephone Man, Johnny, I love you. You great. You ain't getting in front of Bobby on that.
No,
definitely not. Just ain't gonna happen.
No. So who we got next on our list?
We got some young fellas from the Baltimore area of Maryland. Drew Hill.
Yeah, the Cisco Kid.
Drew Hill, I think the draw for Drew Hill when they first came out was they had a different sound from Jodeci and Boyz II Men. It was a little more up tempo. They had the same kind of church background that you heard, but I think what set them apart was the flamboyancy of Cisco from the start.
Yeah, definitely. He stood out. He definitely stood out. And they had some hits too. That's a good thing about the 90s. I guess the 90s era music, whether you're talking about rap, R&B, whatever. Groups were different. Everybody was trying to be different. What can we do to separate ourselves from everybody else? What's our thing we can hang our hat on? And Drew Hill, kind of like Jodeci, but I liken him more to the since they were from the Baltimore, Maryland area, kind of like Missy and her camp. Flashy, with loud colors, things like that. But those guys could sing too. I'm not taking anything away from Cisco, the lead man, but here again, you got a group of 4 guys that can really belt it out. So,
I think one of the things, they had very interesting, very put together videos, and that was one of the draws for Drew Hill. Sleeping in My Bed, whether you do the original version or the remix version, is just a classic song. because it put a twist on the video, put a twist on it, because we all, when we first saw it, we thought it was, you know, another dude. And then when it turned out to be a chick, we were like, oh,
exactly.
You know, that was like, we wasn't expecting that. You know what I'm saying? So that put us there. We were 5 steps.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
good one.
yeah. Nino sung the mess out of that song, man. You know, that's one where even though Cisco does assist him on that, I mean, he sung that song to death, you know, and that song could go either way. It was either gospel or R&B, the way that they sung it. So it was impressive. You know, Tell Me again, you know, the steps to Tell Me was the draw for that.
The dance,
you know, because to see them just you know, jump out there, you know, tell me what you want.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah, my favorite was Incomplete. And that was a good song, good ballad, but the video, Lisa Ray. Hey,
Lisa Ray, yes, sir. Hey, all praises.
But we can't go, you know, we can't deviate from Drew Hill without their #1 song. You know, the #1. you gotta mention it, man. I think they single-handedly were responsible for, I guess, this garment becoming as popular as it was. I mean,
well, Cisco came out, he went solo, and we still attribute this to Drew Hill though. But
yeah, I mean that's Drew Hill. That's still Drew Hill all over.
It's still Drew Hill all over it. But it came out with the Thong song, and at the time when it came out, this was during the time when girls were still wearing bloomers, you know, and panties, you know, and this changed the world. You know, you can sit there and you can say, how did a pair of underwear change the world? But these draws changed the world because everybody was wearing thongs at that point.
Emphasis on everybody.
Everybody. I've seen big girls, I've seen little girls, I've seen people that can make the thong disappear. I've seen people where you can see the thong and it's slack. That's how bad it was back in the 90s when this was going on.
But it made people feel more comfortable with who they were. I guess I put it that way. Self-confidence. Took it to another level. Definitely.
Well, you know, it was a good thing. You know, when you think about it now, you like, you know, this was a song that, you know, really, you know, but then when you think about it, it helped usher in a different change in the culture. People became more comfortable with being open with their sexuality, no matter what size you were, no matter what you look like, you know. You know, and you know, I greatly appreciate it myself because, you know, when we were coming along, you know, everybody's a little laid back and a little tied down, you know.
Right.
So now, you know, we have what we have now, which isn't always a bad thing.
No, diversity and variety is the spice of life. Definitely. So we're gonna keep this thing moving, man. We're gonna go to Houston.
We're
going to Houston.
Man. Yeah, these three brothers, very good trio. They were founded by the great Uncle Luke, you know, and he brought them to the scene. Knocking the Boots became an anthem, you know, when they came out. Became a diverse way of saying, you know, making love, having sex, however you want to go about. That's somebody rocking, knocking the boots.
Good rocking, knocking boots all night long. Yeah.
Give me that good love.
Now I have to be honest. I think I can only recall off the top of my memory 3 songs. Knocking the Boots. One was a remake, Thin Line.
Thin Line, yep.
And They Like It Slow.
Okay, and I give you one more. Emotion make the world. You know what I'm saying? That was a great song.
I forgot about that one. Yeah,
that was a great song. They didn't have a long-term success. Their lead singer unfortunately committed suicide. Not because, you know, things were going bad, but you know, more so, you know, the music industry can eat you up and spit you out sometimes.
Hey man, it's a two-headed monster, man. I'm telling you.
You
It's
know,
tough.
you get all the glory and all the juice when you first come out, and you know, you expect it. Record company wants you to continue that on, and
You're only as
you
good as
might
your
want to go
last
a
hit.
different way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. You're only as good as your last hit, and they want you to have. I mean, you got to have longevity before you can really start making moves on your own. You know,
Yeah.
so the '90s was the era where I think artists had a little bit more leeway because artists were more original
Mhm.
than they are. I won't say are today, but I mean everything's so cookie cutter right now. I mean, you're starting to see the reemergence of I guess the differentiation, but I mean it's nothing like it was back in the '90s. Everyone was looking for that gimmick to be different. So in doing it, I mean, you really had to be creative. And I mean, these groups that we're talking about now, a lot of them that didn't make the list, but we'll still give honorable mentions to. I mean, I can't think of any two groups. I mean, their sound, I mean, the look may have been the same, but the sound was totally different. I mean,
Right.
if you look at a group like we just talked about, Jodeci and Drew Hill, their looks were similar, but the sound was totally different. You know,
Yes.
you have some similarities with like KC, his unique voice, and Cisco, but I mean, their whole catalog and the writing was totally different. I mean,
Right.
you know, they were creative, they could tell a story. I
Right.
mean, nowadays, you know, there's no discretion. I want to do this, I want to do that. Back then, they had a way of being discreet, kind of like the 60s and 70s R&B, you know. So yeah, that's the thing. You just had to be creative and you had to continue that train.
Yeah.
So,
And when H-Town came out during the midst of, this was at the height of Jodeci, when Jodeci was at their height. And they also came out you know, when Boyz II Men was at their height. So it was kind of hard to pigeonhole yourself in between those two. You know, they had some moderate success, but they didn't have the success that Jodeci and Boyz II Men had. And that, you know, during that time, the record company was really gonna put pressure on you. If you was a guy group, you gotta come hard.
oh yeah,
Or if
because they
you
were
don't come
diamond
hard,
dozen,
you
everybody
know,
was out.
they go take it back.
And I think part of that problem, I think you mentioned it earlier. I mean, when Knocking the Boots came out, I mean, it was such a big hit. It's hard to follow that up. It's hard. It's hard to follow something up like that.
Well, when you come out with a song that is so sexually explicit,
Mhm.
You're expected for that to be your continual style. And when you want to change your style up, that's always going to be a hard thing to do.
Right.
It was a good song to come out on, but you didn't have the necessary follow-up
Right. You didn't have an encore.
to keep you there. That was the thing.
That's it. Definitely.
Yeah.
So we got next on our list.
Next on our list is a reflection of the movie itself, Color Me Bad. They got their biggest break by far because of New Jack City. The scene at Nino's house with Nino and his girlfriend and G Money and his girlfriend, and when she hit the play button on the remote, I still remember us being in the movie theater. We was like, oh, look at this. And it was the right song at the right time at the right scene.
Right.
Sex You Up was, whew, that was fire.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, and then when we finally saw the video and saw, hey, oh, dog, this is a white dude singing this.
Yeah. It was John B before John B.
Right. And, you know, that kind of blew us away. And then when we saw the rest of the group, and, you know, like, yo, this is a diverse group. You know, these guys got a hook that nobody else had.
Yeah.
You know, they out of Oklahoma, which again is kind of funny. You know, you got these cats coming out of Oklahoma and they sounding like this. But Sex You Up, this is again another great song that was written and put together for a group, but probably was too hard to come out on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you just mentioned, I mean, it came out on the biggest stage. Either you had a nice encore to follow up, or I mean, you were destined to fall by the wayside. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still played today. It's still a great hit, but I would put them in the category of the one-hit wonders. I mean, great song, but there's no follow-up.
There was there was moderate with the other songs on the album. There was some moderate sound. You know, they got a lot of airplay because they were a multicultural group.
Right.
But at the same time, nothing was ever going to be as big as Sex You Up. And because Sex You Up was probably on the biggest movie of the 90s, besides Boys in the Hood, for us as Black folks, you know, because I know when I watch New Jack City, I can spit every line in New Jack City, you know, because I didn't watch it so much. But you know, the acting in New Jack City also played a part in it. That was the leading to the phenomenal success of Wesley Snipes and Ice-T.
Yeah.
You know, there can never be another Nino Brown. You know, he's just like Ghost. You know, there's only one. You can't, you know, come up with another Ghost. You can't come up with another Nino. So, you know, that's just the way it was. But that song, to have her up there stripping on that song, and then they go in and they have the argument in the bedroom, and to have Nino say what he say to her, you know, baby, this is corny. You know, this is like soap opera shit. You know, that by itself, that's a real line that somebody like us would say. So, and then he go back out and he drinking and he looking at her with G Money, and she looking at him. Man, you already knew what was gonna happen.
It was coming. It was coming. But hey, I guess he was his brother's keeper.
Oh yeah, he was his brother's keeper. All right, you know, that was the leading up to the strife that was in New Jack City. That one song caused that much problems.
Oh yeah, definitely. But hey, nevertheless, it was a great song. It was a great song, great movie.
Great song. Hey, when it come on now, you still got to be like, ooh, because it takes you back. It takes you back. I'm telling you, it takes you back. You know. Definitely. The next one on the list, you know, is a group that I really like them. I've always liked them. Anything that is involved with Teddy Riley, I've always liked. Teddy is a phenomenal producer.
He doesn't get the credit he deserves.
With the breakup of Guy, and the falling out that they had, you know, you didn't know where Teddy was going, and then Teddy all of a sudden comes out with three other brothers. Yeah, and they formed Blackstreet, and Blackstreet came out. They didn't come out hard, but it came out right in the same way that Guy came out, and they had lasting music.
Exactly.
Chauncey and them were very, very good at what they did.
Yeah. Now, was Chauncey in the original, or did Eric come in on the second round?
Eric came in on the second round because he took Dave's place. He took Dave Hollister's place.
All right, yeah, he took in, but Chauncey started doing more to lead after Dave left, I guess.
Yeah, he did. And you know, you think about it, I think Dave's song, She Giving Me Joy, and you know, that's one of the classic, you know, Blackstreet songs. You know, and you think he's singing about a woman, but he's singing about his baby girl, and I can attest to that. You know, that the kind of feeling I have, even though my baby 21 now. You know, that's the kind of feeling that I have still when I hear that song, because you know, she's always gonna be your little girl, so it doesn't matter. I know Tay is like that with you, so you know.
Oh yeah, you know, you have your ups and downs, but at the end of the day, man, hey, that's still your baby.
Oh yeah,
definitely, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, then you have Dave saying what before I let you go.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a good one, and then second Blackstreet album.
They did a couple of extra songs they did with Janet Jackson. I Get So Lonely. They sung that, and then they did with Choose Your Heart and Not Your Eyes with
SWV.
With SWV, and that that's still to this day one of the best. You know. You know, Teddy has always been very good at putting together groups. He's always been able to find just these phenomenal singers that can sing with soul, but sing from their heart as well. and they've always performed to the highest. Even if you go to a party right now and they put on No Diggity, that's still a jam to this day.
As Teddy and Dr. Dre at their best.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, you put two super producers together, you couldn't help but get that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I mean, it's bound to be a hit. Bound to be a hit.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and this is the one you've been waiting on right here.
This is one we've been waiting on. I know you've been waiting on it. Georgia, I know. Before the pandemic, got a chance to see him in concert here in Columbia. Still got it, man. I saw him at their height back in the 90s, and I'm gonna tell you, ain't nothing changed, man. Ain't nothing changed.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I listened to Silk in the beginning. I would listen to Silk if they came on the radio. I never bought a Silk album or anything until it was after 2000. I went back and I started listening. I mean, I knew they were good, and I knew they had hits. But I mean, when you put Little G in there, I mean, you put those guys in there. I mean, they took that thing to another level. They took it to a whole nother level. You gotta
give Keith Sweat his props on this one. Silk's first album is a classic. It is a classic. It has so many songs on it. They came out right. They came out with an up tempo on their first song with Happy Days, along with Keith Sweat. And you got a glimpse of Little G then, and you was like, oh man, who this?
Yeah.
And then whew, boy, Lose Control to see. It's one thing to hear Lose Control on a CD. It is another thing to see it live. And I'm telling you, Lil G almost had me throw my drawers up on stage.
But those 90 groups, I mean, they could sing. I mean, you didn't have any auto-tune. You didn't have anything dressing anything out. I mean, they could sing. And I mean, like you said, you can attest to, I mean, the live performance far outshine what was on that CD.
Man, that CD ain't had nothing on that live performance.
Yeah.
It was so good. They sung it when they were here in 2019 here in Columbia. They sung it then, and it was still as good and as powerful as it was when they sung it in 94.
Oh yeah. I can believe that.
When they sung it in 94, I mean, we was at the concert in the old Carolina Coliseum, and the old Carolina Coliseum was built for concerts.
Yeah, great acoustics.
Great acoustics in there. And my fool brother, as usual, up on the seats, just like the women, like, he's singing, man. He's singing this song. I said, yeah, he's singing this. He is singing this. Lil G showed out. And Silk, but the thing about, we focus on Lil G, but all 5 members of Silk are phenomenal singers. And that's one of the things that has always made them good.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I really got into them on what's the Love Sessions.
Yes,
that's when I really picked up on, and I started from there and I went backwards. But I'm more partial to the Love Sessions, man. And I think I listened to that from front to back maybe a couple times the other day. It's not a bad song on it. Even the remake, the Rick James Ebony Eyes. I mean, hey, that was a good one. But if you just really want, I mean, other than Lose Control, if you really want to hear Little G, listen to that song Sorry on there. I think it's 2 songs from me. I mean, I'm telling you.
Yes.
Yeah. Me apologize. I don't even know. I mean,
I don't know what he did, but he sung. I was like, shoot, man, he's singing this hymn. Yeah. Again, and then the funny thing about Silk is, we could have had Little G and CeeLo Green.
Yeah, true. That's true.
That's the phenomenal thing about Silk. CeeLo Green was a member of Silk as well, but he decided to go to rap instead of singing. CeeLo, and people don't give CeeLo the credit that he deserves for his musical background, but CeeLo can do whatever he wants to do, whenever he wants to do it. That's just because he's that talented.
And I'm gonna put it like this: he's probably No, ain't no problem. He's the best entertainer in Atlanta. I'm not gonna say he's the best rapper. I'm not gonna say he's the best singer, but he is the best entertainer coming out of Atlanta. Period.
And
Make sure.
I can agree with that. When you go see CeeLo, if he got the fellas with him, you getting a show. If it's CeeLo by himself, you getting a show. You know, because CeeLo isn't just rapper. He's multifaceted, multi-dimensional. That's one of the reasons why, you know, I hold him in such high esteem for his talents. But to know that he could have been in this group, and how much better could this group have been with CeeLo?
And he could have been an outcast too. He was close.
Yeah.
He was close to being an outcast.
I'm a little partial because I live in the South, and I say it like this here. All good things come out of Atlanta. I don't fault anything that comes out of Atlanta, Georgia. If it comes out of Atlanta, Georgia, you know it's fire. And it's always been like that. I've been in this world 48 years. I've never known anything not good come out of Atlanta, Georgia. All right.
And speaking on Atlanta, we're gonna keep it there. I'm gonna throw one in here. We're gonna give an honorable mention to Bobby Valentino and Mr. You know, Blackberry Molasses. That was a good one. But 1995, group was formed. 1997, they came out. So Def, JD, Jagged Edge.
Yes, sir.
We can't talk about Atlanta without talking about Jagged Edge.
You know,
Ringo,
when I did the rundown on this, bro, I'm glad you. That's why I got you as my tag team partner. You know, that's what you for. Jagged Edge, Brandon and Brian. Whoo.
The twins, yeah.
Yes, sir. Brandon and Brian. I'm gonna tell you like
Ringo and Kyle. Yeah.
They were here at that same concert with Silk 2 years ago before the pandemic. Brandon and Brian, one thing I can say about them brothers, whether they on CD or whether they live, they sound just alike.
Oh yeah. And I'm going to put this out there too, while we're talking about it. The pen is amazing. I mean, they can write. They can write. They wrote for some big name people, but I mean, just we're gonna keep it on Jagged Edge and what they brought to the table. First time you introduced to Jagged Edge, I remember I was at the dorm in Clemson, the Quiet Storm. I was looking, we were in the room cutting up, and the Gotta Be came on. Everything stopped. Everything stopped. Who are these fellas, man? What do they do with the red on?
With the red on. Yes, sir. With the red on. Gotta Be is one of their, that was their first hit. Gotta Be was their first hit. And you saw the depth that they were coming from. But then one of the great things about them, they followed it up with Nothing Is Promised. And it was like, oh man, these boys, is fire. You know? And then we get to Let's Get Married. You know, that's played at everybody wedding now. You know what I'm saying?
You can't skip over Let's Get Married because anytime Reverend Run bless you on the track. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. When Rev Run it grace you with some verses on your track, you know it's legit, because Rev Run is a rap god. You know, the rap gods know what to get on and what not to get on.
What not to get on. Exactly.
And if you get one of the rap gods, you got a hit on your hands.
Oh yeah.
But even when they went to their second and third album, man, it's I give them boys credit. One of my favorite songs that they always did is Say Goodbye. You know, that's the breakup song there. You know, you talking about some deep felt emotion in that, and that's the thing that they brought to the table. And for the most part, like I said, Brandon and Brian do majority of the singing, but that's what made Jagged Edge what they are. Again, brought to you by Jermaine Dupri, who
he never missed either. I mean, he has some groups. I mean, you know what he did for Bow Wow's career. A lot of people don't realize. I mean, Bow Wow's what, 34, 35 now, maybe.
Yeah.
If that. He might. I don't know. But I mean, anytime you got Jagged Edge singing back up on one of your songs,
right?
And they not the star. I mean, that says something.
That says a whole lot. You know, we're gonna have to do a show on producers, man, because Jermaine Dupri, for what he did for Atlanta in the 90s, even to this day. I say the 90s because he started it. So Def was the precursor to everything else.
I'm gonna ask this question. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I gotta ask this question. How you gonna do the song? We gotta do a series on producers because in Atlanta you got 4 episodes right there.
I know, because
you got Dallas Austin, you got Jermaine Dupri. Don't forget Organized Noise.
By the time we get past Rico and them, man, we gonna be like, what more can we do?
You got Polo the Don, Brian Michael Cox. I mean,
right.
You got some cats out here, man. I mean,
we might have to do that one. You know, I think they done made the dungeon of B&B now. We might have to do that live from the dungeon.
Live from the dungeon. Definitely.
But you know, Jermaine has been consistent, and he's been not only consistent, but he's been great with everybody that he's blessed to produce for. I don't think there's anybody that he's ever produced that has not had a hit that he has blessed.
That's true. I mean, Usher, Escape, we'll talk about next week. The Jagged Edge. I mean,
right.
The Brat. You know,
right. Biggie.
You had a bunch of them to come through. Yeah.
Biggie. People, not to get sidetracked into rap, but One More Chance, the remix that everybody hears, that's Jermaine. That's not Puppet. Jermaine did that remix, and that is why One More Chance is Biggie's, you know, most people say is Biggie's greatest song. That's the one that put him really on the face, you know, and Jermaine did that. And you can tell it because of the way it's smoothed out and everything. Jermaine just had a way, and he's always had that way.
You know? Oh yeah, definitely. Now I got to say this before we move on from Jagged Edge, but I think Jagged Edge to me had one of the best songs that actually took up for the guys. I mean, if you go back on their J.E. Heartbreak, I think it was song number 8. That lets you know how much I listened to that album. True Man.
Yes.
You listen to the words of that song. I mean, for all the bashing that the women did, hey, I mean, they broke that thing down. You can't handle the True Man. I mean, bottom line, the way they sang it, I mean, hey, I mean, that I think that's one of their greatest songs. I mean, they've got some hits. They got some bangs. I don't think it ever got airplay. It was just a song on the album.
It was a song on the album. It never got the push, but that's a song that's definitely, if you bought the album, you sat there and you listened to it over and over again, and you was like, you know what, they speaking truth on this.
Oh yeah, definitely. If it was a tape, your tape probably popped on that song.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Oh yeah. All right, let's move on. We're gonna go back up to the DC area.
Okay.
These 4 brothers from Howard University, but go by the name of Shy, came out very, very hard with If I Ever Fall in Love. You know,
yes.
That is a classic by itself.
They had a regular version and an acapella version.
The acapella version, if you couldn't sing, don't even try to sing it.
Don't try it.
But they had their first album was a very good album. Maybe I'm Yours was a great hit off that. Together Forever was a dynamite song.
People still sing that at weddings, man.
Yeah, still singing at weddings. You got to have somebody that can sing that, because, and when I'm gonna let the Ridgeway come at me when I say this. They got to sing that. You know what I'm saying? You don't sing that, you got to sing that.
S-A-A-N-G, sing.
Yeah,
you got to.
Because that's a deep song, you know.
It is. It's definitely a deep song. I mean, they had what, 2 albums? You know, the second one wasn't
as popular as the first one. When they came out with their second one, that was when R&B was kind of turning the corner at that point in the 90s. That was during the advent of Mr. Kelly and the Public Announcement. So that again was another change in the genre of music at that time. We'll discuss that after we get past this last one, but that kind of changed the way we looked at R&B at that time. They were still in, I don't want to call it bubblegum songs because they were older, but in a way it was kind of, their style was they had excellent harmonies, but
Mhm.
they were kind of portrayed as, goody two shoes
Mhm.
per
Well,
se.
the biggest thing I think they try to hit, like you said earlier, I think they try to pit them against like Boys and Men, because anytime you come out with acapella, that's who they're going to compare you against. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the bar.
yeah,
I mean,
and that was a lost cause. I mean,
you're not going to do that. I think it's wrong of everybody. I mean, just stay in your lane. I mean, Boys and Men had their own lane. Just stay in your lane. That's that. I mean, I think even Jagged Edge took a couple shots. Those Wild Boys, they took some shots at Wanye and the crew back in the day. But I mean, it all blew over because they were saying Wanye was starting to wear a bandana, try to be the bad boy or whatever. And I don't think it was a knock to him. It was like, that's not your lane. Stick to do what you're doing. You're great at what you do. Leave this over here to us. You do your thing and be done with it. But Shy kind of they really didn't. I mean, they had their place on that first album because that was not. I don't want to say neo soul. It's kind of like a kind of new jack. I guess that's that swing you were talking about with R. Kelly.
it got new jack to it. It got new jack to it.
But then they tried to do something totally different on that second album. I mean, you had a couple of hits on there, but it just wasn't the same. And the follow up wasn't as good. I mean,
No, and that's what a lot of, that's what a lot of folks run into. If your first album pops really, really, really good, that follow up is very hard to come back to unless you have the right folks backing you, or unless you have a superior songwriter or superior producer that is doing it. You're gonna struggle on your second album, and for a lot of these fellas, that's what happened.
Yeah, that kind of spoke to the genes you were talking about with JD. I mean, no matter what, I mean, he found that link, that connection. I mean, his songwriting was, I mean, his beats were phenomenal, but that songwriting and getting that stuff out, I mean, that was a beautiful thing, and that's his talent, man. I mean, that's not something that you can develop. This is something you're born with. I mean, because
when we get into producing, there are certain folks that just have this ear, and because they have this ear, they know what's going to fit you. They know what's going to make you hot, and they have this ability to do it. And not a lot of folks have that. No. Some folks, they produce and all their stuff sounds just alike. But then you have these super producers that can have their own unique sounds and then can adapt to your sound and make your sound even better.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
All right. And so the last group we got here, this is the beginning of the neo soul movement at this point. They came out toward the later end of the 90s, early 2000s. This was Next. Came out,
Minnesota, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Came out of Minnesota. They came out hard, maybe grinding,
right?
Yeah. They were a good group. Not gonna take anything from them. They had some good songs. A lot of up tempo. That was at the time that was different because again, the music world was changing with the advent of R. Kelly and the public announcement. And really, the reason why the public announcement is not on this list is because we don't really respect the public announcement.
No, I mean they're great. Don't get me wrong. They did some albums without chaos, but
it's chaos.
Without chaos,
it's chaos. Okay.
Yeah.
Because of the fact, and this was during the time that you're getting away from the groups at this point, unless you were Jodeci or unless you were Silk, or unless you were Boys II Men. The male group, at this time was dying out in R&B. During this time, this was the advent of the white guy male group, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees. That's when they start becoming more and more popular. So the sound had to change. And at that time, this is when R. Kelly and the public announcement came out, and Chaos blew us off the map with that vibe. And then he got to his slow jams, and we have never recovered from that.
Put a nickel on the needle so the record don't bounce.
Never recovered from that, though.
I know we don't mention public announcement, but it's sad because You take R. Kelly when you listen to public announcements, those dudes could sing.
They could
They
sing,
could
man,
But the problem was
it's Kales.
It wasn't. He wasn't that. I mean, that's the thing.
It's Kales, man. Let me tell you, not to get off groups
Mhm.
and knowing just the mess that Kales has put himself in, but from a musical standpoint, there is virtually nobody that can match Kales. If you did a versus, who you gonna put against?
Prince.
Hey, that's the. But look who you saying. Look who you saying.
Prince.
Look who you saying.
And
You're saying Prince. Do you know how hard? Do you know how hard you got to come out to say Prince is the only person that can match Kales?
That's the only one. That's the only one. That'll be a versus for the ages. I mean, that's all you. I mean, that's the only person you could do.
I'm sitting here. I'm gonna be honest. I like I say on my Facebook page, I do the battle every week for the most part. And it took me forever to try to figure out who am I gonna put against Chaos, because everybody that I put up against Chaos would get destroyed, and they are great. They are great. It's Chaos that causes so much of a problem, because Chaos is this person that you cannot. I don't even know how to define Chaos.
Alien. I mean, that's the only way you can put it. I mean, he's not human. He's not human when it comes to the music and the production and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know a bad R. Kelly album.
There ain't one.
I mean,
there ain't one. That's the thing. What can you say about Chaos catalog? Forget. We're gonna go off on this before we go off on this. Okay. Forget what you done heard and what you know and what you done saw and all this. We talking strictly music. Strictly music. There is nobody other than Prince Rogers Nelson Jr. that can stand up to Kale's song for song. Nobody.
That's it. But I'm gonna tell you, when Kale starts playing Trapped in the Closet, it's over.
The boy made 36 chapters to that damn song, Bo. That's how good. Can't read a lick of music. Just go off of what he feels.
That's it.
And will make a hit. That is the phenomenal thing about R. Kelly. R. Kelly is musical genius can't even describe R. Kelly.
Alien. That's all you can say. I mean, they got that in rap. I mean, you got to give him that moniker. I mean, he's just out of this world. But yeah, I mean, public announcement. I mean, they don't get their props because of that. But I mean, you look at Next. Next they had some success because they coined one of the phrases that we still use today. I mean, they introduced the world to wifey. I mean,
classic song with the brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi. That's their jam, at all their weddings, because they got to do their little dance and, make you feel good and everything like that. But, they were, for what they were at the time, they were a good bridge to where we were going to end up going anyway with individuals, because there are no groups anymore. Now you're more apt to be by yourself. There are no groups anymore. The only group that I know of that is together, and really they're not together, but they are together because they make songs, is the Hamiltones. Yeah, and that's Anthony Hamilton's backup group. But those boys are great by themselves. But now when you go into the music business, you're not going in with a bunch of fellas anymore. It's you.
I mean, they take the drama out of it, because eventually, I mean, the way things are going, you're going to have one. I think that's what led to the downfall of Next, because I mean, you had RL, then you had Tweet, and then what's the other guy? I can't remember the name, dark skinned dude, but he did just as much singing as RL, but RL was facing Next.
Well, when RL did the song with Deborah Cox, that destroyed that group at that point. That destroyed the group. They didn't know that he was doing that song, and then at the same time, it was a phenomenal song, and you sang it with a phenomenal singer.
Mhm.
That was supposed to catapult him to his
Solo.
solo career, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, it didn't work out like that. But
No.
even now, if you're a solo act coming along, you got to have a distinct sound.
Mhm.
You got to be an Anthony Hamilton, you know,
Yeah.
or a Raheem Devon, or
Life Jennings.
Life Jennings, you know, something that bringing Kim, you know, something that's bringing something different. You got to have your own sound. You got to have your own movement. And that's the thing that I think 90s R&B birthed solo careers for the guys that's coming along. When we do the solo singers of the 2000s, you're gonna realize they birthed these guys because the songs from the 90s influenced everybody in the 2000s.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, love, you know, right now, you know, a love song right now, when you get somebody that actually can put it together and make it sound right, it's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah.
In the 90s, everybody had a love song. Everybody had a signature love song that they sung.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it does, and it stands the test of time because there were songwriters back then.
Yeah.
You know, you can put on the first Jodeci, the first Silk, the first Boys to Men, and you can vibe with it to this day, and they 30 years old, you know.
Yeah. Now, I
Those
will
were
say this now, the newer generation, because I've been listening to a lot more, and I know from my first podcast, you know, it's R&B dead. I will retract my statement and say R&B is still alive and well, but it's just not being put out like it used to be. You've got, like you just said, you got albums that you would listen to back in the day.
right.
I can turn the radio on now and hear a
song,
a great song. You know, it's not necessarily a one-hit wonder, but you know, a great song. A lot of times I listen to Spotify, like I hear a good song, I'm going to try to find what album that came from.
right.
I listen to the album. I mean, there are a couple of hits on there. I mean, I'll say the most is about 3 or 4, but like on a Jodeci, on the Boys to Men, on the Jagged Edge, you put that on and listen front to back.
Front to back.
Everything was great. And I don't know if it was because they all worked with one producer who understood the sound and moved and worked with that group exclusively. You know, you have producers like Keith Murray said, you know, heard a great beat, but if he do it, he can't mess with it, you know.
Right.
But now you've got, you know, I'm gonna bring in this producer, I'm gonna bring in that producer, I'm gonna bring in this producer. And you know, you try to find something that fits your sound, but basically you're just buying beats. You're not looking at production because the producer's gonna bring out the best in you.
Well, I think right now one of the problems in R&B is the record company is dictating the direction that you should go instead of the artist dictating the direction you want to go.
And the art itself, yes.
Right. And because of that, you see a lot of disparity. You hear multiple songs on an album that don't fit per se, because of the fact you talking about love and respect on this one, then the next one, you know, you might be talking about, you know, the other woman and what you're gonna do and all of that. That don't necessarily go together.
Right.
That's not how an album is supposed to flow. And I think that's one of the things that is hurting in this generation per se. You know, when we came along, you know, we were fortunate. We grew up in the 70s. And see, that's when love song meant something, you know.
I'm glad I was young during that time, because I mean, you listen to songs like Atlantic Star, groups like Atlantic Star, Mtume, groups like that, stuff they sang about, man, that was deep.
It was deep. It was deep. And then, you know, we were fortunate enough, you know, we was young enough when the greatest love song of all time came out, and we had to hear it every Saturday because we were cleaning up the house. You know, now we hear it every night on the Quiet Storm, you know, but you know, the kind of love that Lenny's talking about, you can't find that love no more, man. You know, now that kind of love will get you in jail, you know, because you're gonna kill him.
I will say, if you go on YouTube, because it's not on his album, if you go on YouTube and listen to the remake that Tank did of I Can't Make You Love Me, with the video of Keisha Not Pulliam on it, toward the end of that song, hey,
Tank singing that
song cry. He made that song cry.
Tank singing that.
I don't know where he pulled that emotion from, But hey, he sang it. He
Yeah,
sang that.
he sung that. Yes, sir. No, let me take that back. He sang that.
He sang it.
He sang that. Yeah.
And then you got Luther on the NAACP Image Awards when he sang "A House Is Not a Home."
Yeah.
You know, those are the three that I can think of.
Yeah.
Now Lenny put his on wax, but those other two, that was the video, and then Luther sang it, you know, live. I mean, the emotion behind it. I mean, you know, that's the thing, and that's what I prefer to listen to. I'm not gonna take anything away from the artists today because I think they're brilliant. I think they're doing great things. I'm always gonna support, but the R&B that, you know, we grew up on, I mean, it is just different. It was just different. I mean, it was something too. It was that secret ingredient. Well, not a secret ingredient. It was that special ingredient, and you just don't know what it was. You know, the recipe is great. You don't know what it was. I mean, because I can name some artists now, or I can think of some artists now that can really sing and do some things, but it's missing something, you know.
Right.
But anybody from the 70s, 80s, they can recreate that no problem. I mean, that's the thing.
That, you know, we as being 70s babies, you know, we were fortunate, and that's why we love music so much, because we had music when we were coming along. Today, everything is made for the radio. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Right.
Ain't no feeling behind it, ain't no hurt behind it. You know, I'm making it for the radio. The ones that have now, when we started the podcast, our first episode was, you know, is R&B dead?
Right.
I'll be the first one to say no, it's not. I have seen that Miss Jasmine Sullivan, Miss Her, they are phenomenal.
Ellie Mae, however you pronounce it.
Ellie Mae, you know, Janae Aiko, you know, you have some young ladies that are tremendous artists. Fellas, y'all got to get your game up. You know, we got our flag bearers. You know, we always gonna have Anthony. We always gonna have Maxwell. We always gonna have music. But anybody that's coming out right now, y'all got to come hard, and you got to come. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go get Jasmine Sullivan's latest album. That is one that you put on from first track to last track, and it's one of those things where you sitting there, it takes you the full gambit of excitement, hurt, pain, get over you, why you treat me like this, everything. It's almost, you know, it almost could be a Aretha back in the day type album. You know, Aretha took you through all those emotions. But see, one of the things that the young ladies of today have been privileged, Mary J. Blige has been their guiding force, you know, through the 90s and the 2000s. Mary has showed you how to show your pain, how to show your joy, how to do all that. They've had that. We as gentlemen haven't had that, because our flag bearer through the 90s and 2000s was R. Kelly.
Yeah.
And because of that, that is why we are lacking, because even though Kels is great, the other stuff is what prevents us from being, you know, where we need to be.
Well, I'm gonna say, I think there are some that paved the way that really don't get the credit they deserve for all the foolishness that he's bought on himself and everything. I think Tyrese was pretty good. I think he sang pretty good. Tank is very underrated. You know, Genuine gave you some hits and Pony, but I mean, that's still early 2000s.
Yes.
And then you pass the torch on to Life Jennings and Raheem, which is more neo soul, but still neo soul R&B.
Right.
And of course, you already mentioned Mr. Maxwell. And I'm gonna bring it a little bit farther because you know, you got the child star in Usher, you know, who spans what, 3 generations.
It's 3 generations for Usher, though, man. You know, and I don't get me wrong. I love Usher. Usher is great. But when you think of singing, do you really put Usher at that point? You know what I'm saying? Usher is a phenomenal entertainer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've never said Usher is a great singer.
But nah, I want to say he was top for, I guess, that generation. Now when you put him against the greats, maybe not. But then where would you put a guy like Chris Brown? I mean, to me, Chris is great. Chris is very underrated.
Entertainer. Now, Chris can sing. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. He can sing. But I put it more on Chris from an entertainment standpoint because his dancing is always going to overshadow his song.
But if you take that dancing away and just listen to, I mean, the boy can go.
The boy can sing. But
The
Usher
fight
can sing.
Yeah, well, I think I still get the edge to, don't get me wrong, people are gonna beat me up for this, but I think Chris might be a little bit better.
Well, don't worry. I got that as one of my upcoming battles as well, Usher versus Chris. Now, the only other brother that I could put in this conversation as far as singing is Avant.
Yeah, but Avant has kind of, I would put all three of those in the same category, but in that category, I would have to put Chris up top. Because I think Chris is like on the song Don't Judge Me. He put a lot of emotion into that. Usher can, but I've yet to see him go that deep into it, like Chris Brown did, I guess, and really pull the emotions out. Like I was saying on the I Can't Make You Love Me with Tank. I mean, Tank, he drew on that. And like I think Tyrese could go there. I mean, even when the Stay, I mean, the song Stay, I mean, he went there with it,
Yeah.
But here again, he had some influence from Kels too, because it's kind of like the later albums, Kels had that influence on him. So, he did a lot of production. A guy, Leon Timbo, who was supposed to come out under Tyrese. I don't know whatever happened to him, but his big brother, bald head, beard, carried a guitar everywhere he went. But he was pretty good. I mean, he's got some YouTube stuff out there. I don't know if he ever came out with an album, but I mean, he had a pretty good buzz going at one point in time.
All right.
But other than that, I don't know.
It goes to how dominant of a voice Kels was. And Kels for the 90s and 2000s, Kels really, really dominated R&B music. He
was everything.
King.
Yeah. He was household. He was household. I mean, I think he came to Columbia. I don't know how many times. I mean, every time I turn around, Kels in Columbia throwing a concert.
Yeah.
But
and going to McDonald's.
Yeah. I mean, that was him. And I'm hard pressed to find another male. I mean, to be honest with you, you're right. I mean, you've got some out there that you don't hear as much about. I can't even. I mean, Jacquees and all those guys. Nah.
Well, no, when he came out and said he was the king of R&B, I'm like, what is wrong with you, boy? Don't even put yourself. It's 5 fellas you got to get through before you can even put yourself at that level.
Yeah, I mean Neo is good, but here again,
entertainer, producer. That's what he is. He do better. His best song is a song that nobody, unless you listen to the albums, nobody would know it. And that's him and Jennifer Hudson. I'm Leaving Tonight. That is his best song. And what makes it good is the play between them two together. There are certain people, when you sing on a song with certain people, they're gonna make you better. But I'm gonna leave it with this right here. R. Kelly sang with Celine Dion. I mean, I ain't gonna say nothing else.
That's true. He did.
I ain't gonna say nothing else. Celine Dion. Stop it. We ain't need to talk no more. I don't know.
Hey, Lil Baby did a song with Kurt Franklin.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the kind of foolness that we talk about on a weekly basis when we do our show. But this is the kind of foolness that we talk about when we ain't on the TV. This is the dumbness that we come out with. So don't pay us any attention. This is what we do for a living. Okay?
This is what we do for a living. Yeah. But I'm gonna say this and then we're gonna shut it down because we're gonna have to have this conversation. I don't know if we're gonna do roundtable or what. We still need to have that debate on the top MCs, man.
We're gonna have this debate about the top MCs, but I want to do this as a roundtable because I want to bring in some guests on this. We need to do this live on the roundtable because I have a very good source, Mr. William Calloway, who grew up in New Jersey and New York during the time when hip hop was on the rise, and he can tell you so many stories about the old days of hip hop. And he's gonna be real about the situation. Now he gets on me all the time because I don't give Kool G Rap his due, but it is what it is with him because he was right there with them. So that's the thing. I don't give it because of the fact when I look at everybody that was on Molly Mall at that time, I'm always gonna give Daddy Kane, mad. So that's just me. But we're gonna have a roundtable on this because we're gonna have to fuss and fight about this, and that might be a 3-hour show.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna have to definitely.
Yeah, we gonna fuss and fight about that one. So yeah. we looking forward to it again. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in. More to come. We're gonna continue.
Part 2 coming next week. Definitely.
Part 2 coming next week. We're gonna continue to get better. We're gonna continue to get stronger. Topics are gonna be all we trying to do is just have some fun, man. Just two friends having a conversation.
We invite you to join in on the conversation. Leave your comments on YouTube. Just chime in on which side you take or whatever. I mean, if we left somebody out, it's all about growth and having fun. That's what it's all about. I mean, the world is too serious right now. We just want to do our part in putting a little bit of entertainment, but just a break from the madness and the seriousness, and just have a good time. I mean, that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. And the thing I hate more than anything is my brother is 300 miles away from me right now. I hate that. If we were closer to home, it would be most ridiculous all the time because the whole crew would be together at that point, and all of our wives would really, really be like, "Oh my God, they together,"
Embarrassing us again.
Yeah,
what it is.
That would be the thing. But in all seriousness, we encourage you all, listen, tell your friend, tell everybody, we doing this as a way to just take a little strain and stress off ourselves. You know what I'm saying? This isn't anything for no monetary value for us. It's more cathartic, and getting, some things, because of the fact, we ain't next door like we used to be, or up the road like we used to be. We don't get a chance to hang the way we used to. So it gives us an opportunity just to get on here and just, talk a little bit. And when we get the other fellas on, it's going to be more dumbness. We have a knack for getting really, really silly when we all get together. So it's going to be a beautiful thing.
And I'm going to say this on record. From September 4th to about middle January, early February, it's going to be ignorant. I'm just going to put it out there. It's going to be, some days I might just get on here and just look. Depending on how my Cowboys do. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, why am I still a Cowboys fan? Crazy. I don't know.
But we don't know,
guys.
We don't know.
Guy.
We don't know. And the sad part about it is, I'm the only Steeler fan. My fellas, I got 2 of my fellas and my brother are Cowboy fans. They love the Cowboys like no other. And
we don't know why. We just do.
But they got to hear it from me every Sunday during football season.
Preseason no count.
Preseason no count. You notice I ain't said a word about last week.
It is what it is.
Because it's preseason. I got to find a quarterback. Somebody, please help me. Somebody.
Hey, you got one. He'll be all right.
No, he ain't gonna be all right. No.
Hey, it's on offensive coordinator. You got a game plan. He's still your best option.
I don't have a quarterback. That's what's
wrong.
He's
still your best option, though.
He's the best option. But Kelsey, what I'm gonna do when he fall apart? I ain't got no quarterback.
You better tell Ben to throw that ball. That's all. Throw it away.
Yeah, throw it away, throw it to the other team. That's what he do. Hey. What y'all gonna do about Dakota? Dakota arm hurting him.
It could be Neil O'Donnell. But anyway, I digress.
You had to go there?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, you had to go there?
Yeah. But look, y'all got 6 rings.
Play fair, man.
Y'all got 6 rings. We only
play
got
fair. 5. I'm mad. I don't even want to talk to you no more now.
Ladies and gentlemen, on that note,
you done brought up the name that is not to be spoken.
Oh, my fault. I won't bring up Neil O'Donnell's name no more. Oops, my bad, man. My bad. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end our podcast on that note. This is what it's going to be like. I mean,
this is real, y'all. We hadn't did the podcast during football season, but this is real. This is real.
It's gonna
This
be
is
this
not
time.
play.
That's it. That's it. So
There's love. Don't get us wrong. There's love, but there's some
but it's
trash
football.
talk.
Most definitely. Most
There's some
definitely.
trash talk.
We'll
And
be
if you got
friends on
thin
Friday.
skin, don't hang with us.
That's it. We're gonna be cool on Saturday because we pulling for Clemson, but on Sunday, it's gonna look like I don't know this fella and he don't know me. But hey,
No, because between September and February, I keep my eye closed when I go outside at night because I don't want to see them stars.
exactly. And they're always around.
Yeah,
They're always everywhere you go. It's a cult following, man. You're gonna see one of us somewhere.
they get
You
on my
can't hide.
nerves. That's
You
why I
can't hide.
love. That's why I love my man Stephen A.
Man,
Dude.
forget Stephen A. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you all listening to us tonight, dealing with our foolishness in the last 15 minutes. We appreciate everything and we hope to keep following us. And if nothing else, man, you get something, a little tidbit or something you can take and, during your day, it may make you laugh. You might be sitting at the cubicle, your desk, wherever you may be, and say, you know what, something wrong with them fellas, but I like them.
That's right. That's right.
I'm
It's
gonna
all
leave it at
love,
that.
baby. It's all love. And if you are looking at us on YouTube, hey, drop us a line, man. We'll get back with you.
Most definitely.
We'll get back with you. Bring up topics, because hey, if your topic is picked, we sure gonna bring you in. So you might as well look for it.
Exactly. Most definitely.
All right. So until next week, when we cover the female groups of the 1990s, we're gonna holler at y'all. Y'all have a wonderful week. We love y'all. Enjoy yourselves and be beautiful as always.
God bless.
All right.
See you next time.